Pearlescent Moon is a legendary Minecraft builder. She's responsible for such breathtaking works of art as this, and this, and this, and this. Wait a second, one of these is not like the others. That's right, one of the best builders in the game just tried her hand at Redstone. And her first project? A fully playable version of Wordle. What? My first redstone build was a 2x2 trapdoor. Is she some kind of redstone prodigy? Honestly, maybe, but that's not what we're here to discuss. I want to find out how this thing works. Hi, and welcome back to another episode of the show where we dissect another redstoner's design to see what makes it tick. Today, we're taking a look at Pearlescent Moon's version of Wordle that she recently built on the Hermitcraft server. Now, if you don't know what Wordle is, it's an online word guessing game where you're supposed to guess a secret 5-letter word within 6 attempts, or 5 for Pearl's game. Every time you guess a word, the letters will come back as gray, yellow, or green. Gray means that the letter is not in the word, yellow means that the letter is in the word but not in the correct spot, and green means that the letter is in the word and in the correct spot. If you successfully guess the word before your tries run out, then you win. Otherwise, you lose. Pretty simple. Now, Pearl's design in Minecraft has a pretty different interface, but the core principles are there. Your letters are renamed dies and flowers, and you submit your guesses in these droppers here. To submit your guess, you press this button. Then, all the letters that aren't in the word get transported to this barrel. That's your gray letters. The letters that are in the word, but in a different spot, get transported to this barrel. That's your yellow letters. And the correct letters are held in the system, and the copper bulb on the floor will light up, and those are your green letters. Also, the counter up top will advance by 1, notifying you of how many attempts you've used. If you use all 5 of your attempts without all of the copper bulbs lit, then it will play a losing sound. However, if you manage to guess correctly within 5 attempts, it will shoot fireworks out of these dispensers, a prize out of this dropper, and play a winning sound. And of course, there's a reset button, but we'll get into that later. Now, frankly, this is crazy for a first redstone build, so I'm very eager to finally get into the redstone. Let's get started. Alright, so here we have the user interface that I just ripped directly from Pearl's video, and the first thing that I want to bring your attention to right off the bat is this right here. So these right here are just droppers, but this is powdered snow. And I've actually never seen this before. These droppers are firing directly into a couple of powdered snow blocks, and that's what's helping to guide the items into the correct hopper. And I assume for this to work, that would mean that the powdered snow would cancel out all of the horizontal velocity, right? So it doesn't fly into the next hopper over. In fact, you know what? Let's do a bit of a small scale test. Why not? Okay, so we have our little test setup here. This is right above the center hopper, right down there. And it is loaded up with 5 stacks of yellow concrete. So if we see all 5 stacks in the center hopper only, then I'd say that's a pretty good test, All right, let's give it a whirl. Oh, seems like it's done. All right. Yeah, we saw some bunching up, which obviously would happen with a clock this fast, so maybe it's not the most ideal test, but... Oh, would you look at that? 5 stacks in this hopper, and none in any of these surrounding hoppers. Sweet. Alright, that's enough getting sidetracked. Let's go ahead and get started on the actual redstone. Okay, so what I was able to gather from the video is that the guesses then get spat out of these droppers into these hoppers down here. They get dragged up and over each of these filters here. If the letter happens to be a match, it will fall down into this hopper, get passed through into this barrel, which will be read by this comparator here, passed on to this repeater, which will activate this observer, which will toggle this copper bulb here, which actually, all these are supposed to be off. 1 second here. There you go. Yeah, so they keep their state, so I guess when I put these down, they activate it, but they should be off by default. And of course, if we go ahead and put something in this barrel, you'll see that this turns on. Take the barrel out, it turns off. I'm not quite sure why she wired it like this. Maybe she just really wanted to use the copper bulbs. But yeah, I mean, it works fine either way. It's unlikely it's really going to get desynced in practice, so I'm fine with it. Moving along, you can see that each of these has a torch output, and that is being connected by a redstone line into a torch, and that right there is our AND gate output, and that's our wind detection. So you may be able to imagine that if all of these are correct, let's just put something in each of these barrels. You can see all of these are off, and only when I put in that last one will this torch actually light up. All right, so that's what happens when the letter is correct and also in the correct spot. But what if it's just flat out incorrect or it's in a different spot? Well, all of those letters get passed on to this line of hoppers into a dropper that probably lives somewhere around here, and that gets passed on to the next phase, which I'm about to show you right now. All right, and here we have phase 2. So all of the letters that were either flat out wrong or in the wrong spot will get moved onto this dropper here. We have this auto dropper system where if you have any items, oh, I don't know, like this, right? They'll get automatically spat out and then raked along top of all of these item sorters. If any of them are a match, they will be dropped down into these barrels and then into this line of hoppers. Then they'll be dropped out of this dropper into this water stream and led into this yellow barrel. Those are our yellow letters, aka the ones that are correct, but in the wrong spot. Now, quick note, the reason that these are barrels and not hoppers is because these torches here, as well as the previous item sorter, could potentially lock these hoppers. So we decided to use containers instead. So that's exactly why that's the case. The second case, of course, is that the letter is flat out incorrect. And in that case, it'll still get spat out by this dropper and raked along top of these hoppers here, but it won't fall into any of these filters. So it'll just continue over top, go up this bubble vader here into the gray barrel, and those are our incorrect letters. So you can begin to see that in order to set a correct word, you would basically need to go into this item sorter over here, as well as this item sorter over here. So you need to set it twice in order for the system to work. So let's actually go ahead and set a word. For example, I'm a little too lazy to be renaming flowers and dyes, so instead I'm actually just going to use these concrete colors just so it's easy to remember. So we'll come down here, and what we need to do is we need to put 2 of them, because one of them will actually drop down into this hopper right here. That is just a buffer that happens with these sorting systems. So make sure that you always use 2 in order to prime all of these sorters. So 1, 2, 1, 2, and so on. All right, so the first sorters are set, and they are order sensitive because, I mean, this is the actual thing that detects whether or not you got the correct letter in the correct place. But this over here actually is not order sensitive, but I think it still makes perfect sense to just keep the same order because why not, right? So I'm just gonna go ahead and do the same thing with these sorters right here. And with that, I think it's actually ready to be tested for the first time. Of course, we don't have the turn counter, so don't worry about that. We'll get back to that later, but I've gone ahead and hooked up the submit guess button to these 5 droppers, and let's go ahead and simulate a round of the game, I suppose. All right, so we have our 5 colors here, actually in reverse order because I'm on the other side, but let's go ahead and guess this green one correctly, and let's put, you know what, let's guess the yellow one correctly as well. And let's put some wrong answers in as well. What did I do? Okay, yeah, no, we're still good. And then just a flat out wrong item. So we'll put a dropper in there. All right, so let's go ahead and click this button and see what happens. We should see, yeah, these 2 lit up. So we have those 2 are correct. And the rest of them are incorrect. Let's see if we have the correct, yep, here we go. So our dropper ended up in this gray barrel, awesome. And our other 2 colors ended up in this yellow barrel. So we know that those 2 are correct, but in the wrong spot. And this one is just flat out incorrect. Awesome. All right, so now we have our wind detection here. So let's go ahead and get one more correct. So let's do this orange one. And let's get both of these incorrect again, just for kicks. We'll submit. And yep, this one is marked as correct. We hear some clicking in the background. We should see the other two make their way over to here. Awesome. And now let's finally get it correct. So hit this button and we should see, yay. Why didn't it, isn't there supposed to be a sound like psst? Why was it like what? Psst, where was that? Oh well. And then of course, to reset this thing, all of these barrels need to be emptied. We'll get onto that a little bit later, but for now, let's do the turn counter. All right, so we have a couple new things from last time. This here is our turn counter. Essentially, it is going to be filling this crafter with 5 different items, or I guess just 5 items. And with each item that it receives, it is going to increase the signal strength by 1. So I filled this bottom dropper with 5 redstone torches. Pearl used shovels. And honestly, anything is fine so long as you don't accidentally craft something. But yeah, I'd say just to be safe, use something that will not craft no matter how this thing looks. But yeah, if we simulate a turn by taking away this torch and putting it back in, you'll see that 1 torch has made its way into the crafter and has been picked up by this comparator. You see this redstone block right here. I just have that to lock this hopper that's underneath it, because that is how we will be resetting the game when we actually put the reset circuit in. But anyways, we're gonna go ahead and activate it one more time. You can see now that has moved on to 2. And in order to actually reset the game, we will break this block. You can see that it drains all the way down into this dropper, and we will lock that again. You can see that it has been hooked up to our input as well. So each time I push this button, you'll see that these actually start to count up. Now, right over here, you can see that when we reach 5, we have a little something special going on, and that is our lose detection. So we have this long delay happening over here, going into this comparator, going into this note block, which can be some kind of losing tune or whatever it is. However, you may have also seen this green line that's brand new. So I'm gonna go ahead and discuss that real quick. So this green line is coming from the bottom here. This is our wind detection circuit from before. It's being fed into just a simple torch tower, and it's going into the side of this comparator to block it, but it's also going into this dropper for your prize. I've just set it to a diamond because, well, that makes sense to me. And that, by the way, is also the reason for all of this delay here. So basically, if you actually happen to get it right on the 5th try, you shouldn't have the lose condition, right? You should have the win condition. So this delay here actually beats this delay here, even with the added delay of the powdered snow here. So to see it in practice, let's go ahead and guess one more time to set it to 4 guesses. And then let's put in the correct answer into these droppers here. We're gonna go ahead and hit the submit button, and you'll see that, there we go. This has just beaten this delay here. So we did not get the losing sound, which will be just a low cowbell sound on F sharp. And we got ourselves some fireworks and of course our all important diamond. Oh, also something else that I just thought of is we probably don't want to allow the player to keep guessing, right? After this thing has reached 5. So let me go ahead and insert that real quick. Okay, there we go. I just tapped off of this line here, moved a redstone line into here, and locked this repeater so that whether you get it right or wrong, you should not be able to keep guessing past the 5th guess, right? So there we go. All right, let's go ahead and manually reset the system here. We'll come down here and get our pieces of concrete back. All right, let's give this another play test. So we just simulated the guessing it on 5. So let's actually simulate a lose situation. So I don't know, let's go ahead and get both of these correct, the rest of them incorrect. Let's just chuck in that just to have some fun. There we go, we have our first one. We see that this yellow one is correct. We should see a target block here. That's good. Okay, good. And let's just go ahead and keep guessing incorrectly. There we go. And finally, let's actually go ahead and chuck some random stuff into here, maybe like that. And let's hit this button. See? There we go. We have our lose sound. We should still have our stuff come back into these barrels. Yeah, there we go. So we have our correct but wrong spot ones and our random redstone block that we chucked into the system as well. Now, if I try to guess again, as you can see, it will not allow us to guess again. So that is perfect. All right, I'm getting a little sick of resetting this thing manually. So let's go ahead and hook up the reset circuit finally. All right, so we have our reset circuit in. That's the red line. I know the confirm button was the red line previously. I don't know why I did that, seeing as the block itself is green, but I've changed that to green. This is now red. I've also added a few bits of audio feedback here. So as this counts up, you can hear that this actually does, you know, chime 1 semitone up per button press. Also, if you get a letter right, you will hear a little chime like that. And you can see this bottom bit has also changed a little bit to accommodate for the reset, but it's essentially the same thing. In case you didn't know, a comparator can read a container through a solid block. So while we're here, let's actually start with the bottom. You can see that there's a whole bunch of repeaters that are locking these hoppers that are right below all of these barrels. This is where all of the correct letters go. Those are being powered through this block with all of these torches, which are on target blocks, and that is connected to a pulse extender right here. This is a comparator decay clock. So you can see that as I put a torch there, it not instantly, but pretty quickly powers. But as I break the torch, it will decay very slowly, and so that will give us enough time to filter out or to empty out each of these barrels, because there will be a maximum of 5 items in each of these barrels. That'll give us more than enough time to evacuate them out and put them into this dropper. That's an auto dropper system, and that will be transported through this water system all the way up to this barrel, which is our letter bank. On the top side, you can see that this line is also going up here to another comparator decay clock, and that is just to unlock this hopper right here for enough time to drain at most 5 items into this bottom dropper. Oh, and also up here, I connected this locking line to disable any new submissions to our wind detection from below. That's just because we probably don't really need to keep guessing after we got everything right. So yeah, that's in as well. Now, one thing that I want to point out is I put a lot of delay going into this bottom circuit here. And the reason I did that is because in the case that the player wins at 5 guesses, you'll see that this torch tower will be lit and also this line will be lit. And if both the bottom and the top are reset at the same time, then this torch tower will turn off before this signal has a chance to turn off, and you'll actually get a losing sound during the reset process, which honestly isn't a big deal, but it doesn't make any sense, right? So yeah, let's go ahead and simulate that real quick. So we have 3 guesses. Let's go ahead and, oh, hold on. We have a letter bank now, so that's great. Yeah, so just for kicks, let's go ahead and get this one right, that one right, and let's put in, oh, I don't know, a torch into that one, and the yellow one into there. Why not? We'll hit this button. There we go. We got 3 correct letters. Now we're on our 5th guess. We'll put in this dark green concrete and this yellow concrete. And when I push this button, there we go. We have our correct answer here. We have a diamond as a prize, and those went off perfectly. Oh, of course, I didn't hear the chimes down here because they're powering each other. Oops. Anyways, we'll get to that later. Let's go ahead and test the reset function. So we'll hit this button. There we go. That all gets reset. We do not hear the losing sound at all. This is empty. This still has a torch in it, which we'll get to later. And this is all of our letters right here. All right, let's go ahead and take care of that chime issue. That's a little embarrassing. Okay, so what I've landed on is just staggering them like this so they don't power each other. Is it elegant? No. And do some of them sometimes activate just one tick after the other? Yes. Does this look a little worse than it used to be? Yes. But does it work? Yep, it absolutely does work. So that is good enough for me, honestly. So on reset, all of our correct letters make their way into this barrel. However, if we have any incorrect ones, or we have any left in the yellow for some reason, those will not be moved into this barrel, which, as Pearl actually mentioned in her video, could definitely just give away the correct answer if the person that is resetting the game is not doing the manual effort to take stuff out of this gray barrel. So let's go ahead and add that functionality. After all, this wouldn't be a Jazzy Red video without a couple of suggested improvements, right? All right, so first off, let's actually just completely get rid of this return part of it, just because it's going to get in our way. I have a couple plans. So I think you can see where this is going. Obviously, we would need to put a couple of hoppers underneath these barrels here. They would, of course, be locked by default, but they would all funnel into the exact same dropper, which I believe we're going to put down here. Actually, wait, let's have it converge on a barrel because it has enough buffer space for it. So we have all three of these, as well as all of this, converging into one hopper, one barrel. And let's go ahead and put that barrel into a dropper, like so. And of course, the pesky quasi-connectivity here. Let's go ahead and replace that with a piece of glass. No issues. So you might be wondering, why exactly am I doing this buffering sort of technique here? Well, it's because the dropper has the native functionality to do a bit of randomizing within its 9 slots. So what I want to do is get all of the letters from both of these barrels, as well as all of the correct letters, aggregate them into this dropper and a little bit of buffer as well, before I start spitting them out of this dropper. So that has a few effects. First of all, it of course means that I'm getting my letters from all three of the sources where they collect up, and also it means that we'll get hopefully a randomized set of letters going into this barrel so that the correct answer isn't obvious when we open this barrel and do the next run. So as for how to actually detect that, let's see. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read off of this hopper here. I'm going to put that into a comparator decay circuit. And then I want to set it up so that when this thing fully decays, that is when this auto dropper is actually going to activate. Okay, I'm hoping this should be good. Let's try to test it perhaps. Okay, so I'm going to put an item here and an item here. So they are as far apart as they can be. All right, there we go. And, oh, it gets reset. Hey, that's pretty good. But is this perhaps too fast? I mean, it's certainly faster than the hoppers can actually pull. I think we probably want a slow clock here for it to be like actually randomized, because when the dropper gets rid of an item, it needs to then be replenished first before it rolls the dice again, right? This is just, yeah, that's just too fast. All right, slower clock it is. All right, so we moved it over to the side here. Janky? Absolutely, yeah, it's definitely janky. However, it should work in theory. Click that. We should see both of them come in here. And then, there we go. Nice slow spat out, and I mean, it looks perfect to me. All right, now let's restore the water stream. All right, there we go. And now it's time to actually hook this up to the reset line. So let me just do that real quick. All right, there we go. So I just hijacked this pulse extender here, coming through here. Basically, it's the exact same signal that unlocks these hoppers. Now unlock these hoppers as well. All right, and now I have loaded up a whole bunch of these colors here. So this is our alphabet, and I'm just gonna pretend that I don't know these. And I'm gonna start just blindly guessing. Let's start with purple, green, orange, purple. Oh wait, no, we can't do that. Green, red. All right, let's do that. So when we press this button, we do have orange pop up. One guess. We can maybe move red over here. And let's swap the greens. Why not? And let's try a brand new color, white. I'm trying so hard to act dumb. Oh, wait, hold on a second. Oh, I didn't put in a guess. Yeah, let me just go back in the system and, yeah. Okay, all right. Second guess. Nope. This does rely quite a lot on memory, that's for sure. Oh, geez, I'm about to get it completely right, aren't I? If I switch, you know what? It's fine, it's fine. We'll hit the button. Oh, yeah, again, I've just, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. This is fine, this is okay. I'll just eat that try, it's fine. Oh, look at that. Whoa, we have 3 red. Oh, that's cool. All right. Oh, and we got both of these back. Let's go. This is our 5th guess. Let's hope we get a diamond. Yo, it's a diamond. Yay. Okay, great. So we do have a couple of things in this barrel. Let's actually see if it's enough time to drain all of these. I'm a little concerned. But okay, let's reset. We should see these all draining out. That's good. Okay, that's really good. They're all piling up in here. Good. There we go. And they're being shuffled, presumably. All of them made their way back. And the correct answer, right, is this. Green is here, light green here, yellow, orange, red, and then all of these are mixed in. Yeah, that did a good job of shuffling it as well. Nice. Okay. I think this is really good. Okay, good. And there it is, folks. Pearlescent Moon's version of Wordle with full reset functionality. And I gotta reiterate, I am so impressed with this thing. I mean, this is Pearlescent Moon's very first Redstone machine. I can hardly believe it, honestly. This is such a cool game and a great showcase of how very simple mechanics can be put together in a way to make a nice, complex game that, honestly, to anyone that doesn't know Redstone, probably looks like absolute wizardry behind me right now. But hopefully I've made sense for some of you guys, and if I did, please make sure to like this video and also subscribe for more Redstone content like this. And that's it for today. Bye-bye.